What's going on, everyone? This is Nate the Great coming to you live from the All Sports All Plays Network. I am here today with Chris Robinson. You were here last week, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Ray.
Had a great time.
So to start off the show, this is the ASAP Wrestling Hours. To start off, go through all the matches from Monday Night Raw and then Friday Night SmackDown. See how we thought about each match and so on and so forth. As we do have a comment, Freddie Henderson, he goes and says, "What's up, guys? What's up?" So Monday Night Raw, the very first match, Riddle versus AJ Styles. Kind of felt like that tag team was Riddle and Randy Orton was going to split up, but very surprising ending, I should say. Well, it kind of wasn't. Go with Chris first. What are your thoughts on the match as AJ Styles ends up pulling the victory here?
I mean, the match is good. Two phenomenal wrestlers, no pun intended. But I'm tired of the rematches, and the ending kind of took me out of it because, like, Omos just stood there. He didn't do anything to cause the end,
Yeah. I say surprising ending. I'm talking about ending in Monday Night Raw. I'm not talking about ending in that match.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the Goldberg Lesnar segment.
Well, no, I'm talking about the second segment. Yeah, the Goldberg Bobby Lashley segment was the last part, but I'm talking about the second.
You're talking about the Omos and Randy Orton.
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm glad that we're gonna get that match finally. The tag team match set up finally. I kind of wish they could have had like more of a buddy relationship with Orton and Riddle, like just them together more as opposed to the "you're my annoying little brother, I'm gonna beat you up" type thing.
Yeah, to me, I thought it was kind of cool though. You had the bigger brother, you had the veteran and a newcomer. I mean, he's not really a newcomer; he's a newcomer to wrestling, but he was an MMA fighter, so he has some fighting responsibility. Riddle did, but let's go back to last Monday night when the show went off the air. This is how this all came up. John Cena came down to the ring when Randy Orton and Riddle was fighting down the scene. John Cena made up. We put the team back together. But what really put on the point was when Riddle came back to help Orton out. That seemed to put that team back together because Riddle came back and helped him after he got an RKO last week, and he didn't leave Orton to hang. And I like the way Riddle's comment on. I don't know if you've seen it on social media about it, saying that Orton was just teaching them how to put the RKO on properly on somebody. So he played it off. So it's pretty good. Well, we mentioned about John Cena here. Y'all want to see a doppelganger of John Cena?
Yeah.
That's your doppelganger of John Cena right there. And this actually came out of John Cena's on Twitter account. So.
Oh man, that was I didn't know that. I didn't know that it came out of John Cena's Twitter.
Yeah, somebody and he looked just like him. I mean, he's a spitting image of him. I mean, short hair, big muscle. Unmistakably, that's John Cena doppelganger right there. But anyway, let's get back to this match. You talking about Orton and Riddle?
I kind of felt like I knew that Riddle was going to be involved because of how this was, all setting up and all. But I thought it was going to be more of a triple threat match, between AJ, Riddle, and Randy Orton.
Right.
And it's really annoying because they've done a lot of triple threat matches lately, but it's kind of how I felt about this.
Right. Yeah. To me, it felt like it. but I like the way the WWE brought it back in perspective. The way Riddle came back and said they were teaching Orton was just teaching him how to do the RKO. That's why he got an RKO. But we know reason why. But I mean, I like Riddle's character. He's more of like he's totally different. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he's like a bro. He's like a surfer type dude. We seen all kinds of people play all kinds of different, but he actually literally lives this kind of role. If you see him in person, he lives by this role, and I think he's taking the John Cena mentality. Because when John Cena was in wrestling, he led by the life of John Cena. He was John Cena himself. You know, he didn't get a broke character or nothing like that. What you saw about John Cena outside the ring, what you saw in the ring. He's a big hearted kind of guy. And with Riddle here is, I like the way they put Randy Orton behind him. I think this is going to play out the way I think it's going to play out. I think it's going to play out where Randy Orton will turn on Riddle at a certain point of time, as they feel like when he's getting ready for Riddle to break off from him and try to put him over as a top superstar. But at the time being, you putting him underneath Randy Orton's regime, I think that's kind of good for him because he's learning the ropes under a veteran. And it's like four types of wrestler in this organization right now who can get a crowd over. John Cena knows how to play the crowd's emotion. He can get them up, he can get them down. He senses when they're getting up, he senses when they're getting down. And he plays off that emotion. He has taught Randy Orton how to play off that emotion when they win the match. Randy Orton is now getting, because if you listen to some of Randy Orton's interviews about John Cena helped him get over the certain point of where in his career that he's getting stuck. Triple H led Randy Orton to a certain point, and then now John Cena took him to another certain point to listen to the crowd, because John Cena has great ears for the crowd, and he learned how to play. And if you look at the Miz, he did the Miz the same way. He taught the Miz how to play the emotion. You're getting too early. He's telling the Miz to slow down a little bit. But see, now with Randy Orton, he's still not going to branch off that story. Then is going to tell Riddle how to play the crowd's emotion, because right now Riddle's playing that fast-paced motion, and with him and Randy Orton, I think they can make a good team. I think that team could be the team that upsets AJ and Omos and give Omos that first loss. So, I mean, I think this is a good pairing. I think this is going to be a great match. I think every one of them have good chemistry between the three. I think Omos is going to be the outside that don't bring in the good chemistry, because he's not really a finesse wrestler. He's just a powerhouse. He's only got certain moves he can do, slamming them down, throwing them out of the ring and stuff like that. But with his MMA background, with AJ Styles' background and Randy Orton's background, that match is going to be pretty good. And I think they both know how to take falls, and that makes Omos look a little bit a little bit outgoing the way the WWE wants him to look.
Now I want one question. If Randy Orton does turn on Riddle, do you think AJ Styles is going to be the guy to push that?
No.
I'll go
ahead,
first.
Chris.
No. In all honesty, I think Randy turning is too obvious. I really think it's gonna be Riddle.
Wow.
That could be the point too. I mean, Riddle could go back to the like last week he hit the RKO.
Yeah, I wanted to strike first.
Yeah,
like you taught me so much, Randy. I learned from you.
Yeah.
And cut the head off the Apex Predator.
After that, I kind of felt the same. I see where you're coming from, but wow. Now, moving on, let's talk about the next part of the story. Nikki ASH went up against Rhea Ripley, the other part of the triple threat match that's going to be facing later this Saturday in SummerSlam. And the winner of that one ended up being Rhea Ripley, but the ending was actually kind of hilarious. It was funny. I thought it was. My thoughts on this one is I feel like the rivalry between Nikki ASH and Charlotte Flair is going to continue, but Rhea Ripley is going to break away from that. And I think that her and Nia Jax are going to start one coming up pretty soon.
I think so too, but I mean, I don't know how far they're gonna let Nikki hold that title. I don't know if she's gonna hold it past SummerSlam.
Yeah, I see her dropping it Saturday, to be honest.
Yeah,
I do,
probably.
but I do, but I don't. I see her dropping it to Rhea.
Yeah, I
You
can
do or
see.
you don't?
I
I
can see.
do.
Uh,
I can see her dropping to Ripley. I don't see her dropping to Charlotte because we don't know what Charlotte's gonna be. Her contract is probably coming up to an end, and Ric Flair has been released. He's got a 30-day non-compete clause, and then once he gets that clause done, he's gonna join his son-in-law, who is married to Charlotte, Andrea over at AEW. And there's been hint that he's also been putting down fillers that Charlotte might be joining him over there too, to to create a Flair fashion over there.
yeah.
So I read that he is. I think I read from his Twitter page that he wants to start up a network of his own.
Who, Ric Flair?
Yeah.
He could join. I mean, he could join. He can also join forces with Shao Kahn too. I mean, he's got the money to do it. But his son-in-law right now, he wants to manage his son-in-law. That's what the reports are coming out of, and he
Well,
will
he
be.
did it.
He did
I'm
it
sorry.
at
Yeah.
this past weekend, and one thing about that comment about that coming out of this past weekend, if Kenny Omega knew that Flair was going to be in Andre's quarter, Kenny Omega came out personally and said that he would have actually let Andre won that match.
Hmm.
But Ric Flair was a late add on because he didn't know his WWE contract was what he could do, but he cannot compete with AEW, but he can compete with the indie companies because they're not in direct line with WWE. He has a 30-day non compete with the organization, so he's like a indie kind of type floating around.
Um. Anything that do you see? I haven't really seen much of this going along lately, but after she drops her title, well, that's the prediction. That's what we're all agreeing with. Do you see that Alexa Bliss tag team happening? I know we've been talking about it for a little while.
I can see Nikki and her getting back together.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Oh, I can also see Alexa Bliss chiming in when one of the titles dropped, going after the title, and Nikki coming out and helping her to win the title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, bring back the double champion. Alexa Bliss gets the Raw Women's title and the Raw Tag Team title.
I mean, Alexa Bliss is in a different state of mind, and now they got Nikki as a superhero. I mean, you can have Harley Quinn and superhero, type gimmick. I mean, you know, so I mean, I can see them getting back together. I mean,
Jet
they
Boss
were
was
awesome.
the
They were awesome together. I mean, they had
yeah,
good
they were.
chemistry.
Yeah, they were. So moving on, talking about the next match, Drew McIntyre had a 2-on-1 handicap match, which was my least favorite match of Monday Night Raw. Well, actually, I take that back. Moist T beat the Miz Damian Priest match was really not really a match I want to see again either. But Drew ended up winning a handicap match with Beard Shanky, who he's basically a big, strong guy facing up against two other big, strong guys. Now, since Drew McIntyre won, they're barred from ringside. So I really did not like what was going on there because it was just because of the athletic. On a story perspective, I guess it kind of made sense, but on a athlete perspective, I didn't really feel like it was a fair match for me. Chris?
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. It just wasn't. It didn't do anything for me. Uh, Drew's promo wasn't anything good after. The storyline's been terrible. Like I said last week, I mean, they had so much history they could have touched on with Drew and Jinder. and going, for a sword is a storyline purpose.
I
It's
do
just not
feel
good.
like I kind of thought that the whole Jinder Mahal being afraid that the sword was going to stab him kind of thing. I thought that was kind of funny, but I didn't feel like they put that out there the right way. The intent was funny. I just feel like the attention, the presentation wasn't.
Well, I think they're using this storyline to try to get McIntyre back strong. I mean, he's already, followed the Bobby Lashley. It kind of brought him from that world title down to back to a mid card level type deal. But I think they're trying to build him up. I think they're trying to building him up strong, a little bit stronger, so they use the 2-on-1 type deal. But they haven't used it. To me, if Jinder Mahal is really afraid of that sword, they have not shown it in the storyline. I mean, they only showed it that one part. Now they should take that fear out and then have Drew looking over Jinder Mahal's back every few seconds. Having Mahal, you can just kind of scare going through thing, but they haven't really played that story part out. I don't know why they didn't play it out because that would have been kind of good watching Mahal go around the back, around the corners, trying to see if Drew's behind them, and then have something drop behind them and get them all freaked out. It could improve the storyline a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the storyline is just trying to make Drew McIntyre get back, look stronger, so they when they ever decide to put him back in the world title picture, he's not going to look too weak coming from mid card back up to a powerhouse card.
So going on to this next match, and I'm going to explain why I really did not like this. For one, Miz basically hid his injury that he was hurt for. He was cleared to wrestle. Hid the fact that he was cleared to wrestle for a couple of weeks, and that started a feud between him and John Morrison. Well, it was more of an argument, and you basically solved things at the end. That was basically the whole gist of it. For those that didn't really see Monday Night Raw. So I didn't like that for two reasons. One, if Randy Orton and the Riddle get the titles, I feel like they're going to bring that tag team, Miz and Morrison, and try to get them out for a title shot again, tag team title shot again. And then the other reason is, but what was the whole point of this, back and forth thing if there's nothing else to build on off of it? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, it was just kind of crazy how it was just only for like 45 seconds during the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they're friends again. Touch on the match itself. I don't see why Damian Priest is still focused on Miz and Morrison when he has a U.S. title match coming up this weekend.
That's the other one. They've dragged out that rivalry for 8 months since Royal Rumble. It was a good WrestleMania rivalry, but it was not something that should be brought out for 8 months. Ray, what are your chime in a little? Can you chime in a little bit? What do you think about this?
But the Miz and Morrison and Capri, I mean, we seen that at WrestleMania. We seen that with that feud, the feud continuing on. I mean, I like the way they did the segment and had him on that more. I guess John Morrison's got a new show called The Moist, and they had the Miz, and I like the way they were questioning the Miz and stuff like that. And then Priest came out talking about the fake injury and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they pushed him into the little kiddie pool. I thought that was kind of cool with the $1,000 suit he complained about. I have a feeling that this the Priest match is for this is leading up to his U.S. title. I think he's going to take the U.S. title off of Sheamus. That's just my prediction for SummerSlam. But then I think Morrison's getting ready to turn on the Miz. So that's the next step in that feud. So to me, I think that's what we're about to see. We're about to see John Morrison turning on the Miz, or the Miz turning on John Morrison. But I think John Morrison's gonna be more of that John Morrison turning on the Miz.
Yeah, I feel like this. I don't think that this is going to end. But I can also see that tag team match going up again. Maybe they continue that storyline, but also go for the tag team titles. Maybe they do something along that lines.
Right.
But anyways, it just left me with a lot of questions, but concerns.
Yeah.
So the last, well, the other part of the match, I didn't really care. The other match of the night was I didn't really care much about it. I guess Hulu didn't either because they didn't put that on Hulu. But it was Mace versus Mansoor. It was one of those, Mansoor just got destroyed. So it wasn't really, it was just not a good match. Chris, do you see this going anywhere big? If that makes sense.
I like the pairing of Mansoor and Ali.
I do too.
They're talented. They have good looks. They're good in the ring, but I really don't know what they're going to do with them. They're never going to be tag team champions or anything, and then they're just sitting there floundering with making T-Bar. Honestly, that'd be all four of those could go back to go to NXT and do something.
So I read a post. This was a while back. It was a Twitter post by The Miz, and he said that back when him and Bobby Lashley had their rivalry, he said, I'm so glad that I get to be part of Bobby Lashley's storyline. I'm usually that kind of guy that wants to build careers up, and not tear them down. So, I'm glad that I had this opportunity. Because of that Twitter post alone, if John Morrison and The Miz get the tag team titles, I think that they are going to be the guys that build that Ali and Mansoor tag team up.
That's like the only team I can really see them having a good feud with too. I thought that, but I don't really see them being in the tag title picture.
True. So, moving on away from Monday Night Raw, going to SmackDown a little bit. Start off with, honestly, I think was the best part of the night for me because Apollo Crews no longer has the title. The King Nakamura versus Apollo Crews, and the winner of this one was King Nakamura. Ray, what you go first on that?
I don't know, but I don't think this King gimmick. I think he just throw the King gimmick away now since King Corbin lost.
I like it better on him than I liked it on Corbin, though.
Yeah, he's more funnier with it. He's got the dance moves, he's got that weird music. He's kind of weird looking, creepy looking kind of King dude. Apollo Crews, I don't know. I think it's time for him to take that Nigerian gimmick and just throw it out the side and go back to original Apollo Crews. And come on now. He didn't talk Nigerian all through. All of a sudden, we got to believe he's going to have a Nigerian accent, coming through. We all know that wrestlers and stuff go through acting classes and become up to stuff. But I think this gimmick for Apollo Crews just played out. I think after, the Big E's gone, moved on from the Big E thing, I think that Nigerian has nothing. There's some sort of like with Roman Reigns in that table, head of the table. To me, I think Nakamura is a deserving Intercontinental Championship. I think Nakamura is deserving what he gets right now because he's been through a lot in WWE, paid his dues coming in. Settled for a feud with Corbin. We don't know exactly what the whole deal is with Nakamura and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think this might be showing that he's going to stay around for a little while by putting the title on him.
Yeah, I feel the same way about that. Chris, what are your thoughts on this King Nakamura and the Intercontinental Championship match?
I basically echo everything Ray said. Shinsuke deserves it. I can. The King gimmick works strictly, honestly, because of moves. Like they make a great pairing. They're entertaining to watch. I look forward to some Nakamura's feuds as the Intercontinental Champion. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do with Apollo now. Maybe him and Aziz will go after the tag titles. I don't know.
Oh, I hope not.
Mm.
I don't really care much about Aziz. Because I feel like the way that they brought him in and the way that they brought Omos in, I just wasn't really. I didn't really care too much about that. So start off a little bit before that, which was funny for me. John Cena versus John Cena and Roman Reigns. They go face to face. They had a little conversation of their own, and I feel, to be honest, I know that wrestling is WWE is scripted, but John Cena makes it feel like it's not scripted. That's how I feel about him.
Yeah, let me talk about that a little bit here. John Cena is two wrestlers right now that do not get scripted when they talk. John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Really, I didn't.
Roman Reigns got the clear because he got Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's there to make sure Roman Reigns don't go off a little bit off to the wild side and stuff like that. But to me, they're making it personal, bringing Nikki Bella into it, bringing other things into it, the personal life and stuff like that into it. It makes it more real, more realistic. We all know that John Cena does not hate Roman Reigns. We all know Roman Reigns don't hate John Cena. We know Roman Reigns is respected by John Cena. John Cena is respected by Roman Reigns. Technically, this is another torch passing type deal like the Undertaker did to Roman Reigns. Now it's time for John Cena to do it to Roman Reigns because they try to make Roman Reigns the big money getter now of WWE. That's a fact. That's why they put Paul Heyman there. So with the two unscripted guys, it makes it more realistic than when it goes by a script because we know John Cena's got a gift of mouth. He can put stuff together to make other people feed off of it, and that's what Roman Reigns did. He feeds off of everything else, and then just makes it unscripted, makes it a little more realistic between the two guys. And basically, that's what it comes down to. Vince McMahon is proud of what he's seeing with John Cena. I'm happy way they brought back John Cena. I'm way the crowd's getting behind John Cena because John Cena hasn't been in there a while, so now the crowd's getting a little bit behind them for this feud here. I think my plan, I'm still not going to deviate from this. I think John Cena's going to win Saturday, and I think Roman Reigns is going to beat John Cena down at the end so bad that Big E's going to cash the title, the Money in the Bank, and that's how they're going to get the title off of John Cena because it worked. It just all works because John Cena really wants Big E to have the world title, and the perfect way to do it is beat Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns beat him down to a pup and have Big E cash in the Money in the Bank and win the title right off of John Cena right there. I wouldn't look bad on John Cena because he got beat down by Roman Reigns at the end, and it made Big E to get the title. And that's how you get the title off John Cena quick. But you do two things. First, you get the 17 titles. Ric Flair wanted to see that, so he gets to see that. John Cena will break Ric Flair's record. That's who he wants to break his record. That's who's going to do it. And then on top of that, now Big E gets his title. So you kill two birds with one stone at SummerSlam, and I think that's what's going to happen.
No. See, let's talk about Money in the Bank, actually, because part of the Friday Night SmackDown, Baron Corbin basically stole Big E's contract. Now I'm reading an article that the New Day wants Baron Corbin to cash the Money in the Bank contract on Goldberg. So are they making that official now?
No, the whole, if you look at the Money in the Bank storyline, because the Miz had Money in the Bank, got it stolen, but then then John Morrison cashed it in, and then he came out and said it was not his ability to cash it in for him. He had to cash it in and gave the money back to the Miz. So basically, he just stole it. It doesn't mean he's gonna get the right to use that Money in the Bank. But to me, again, that'd be kind of weird if he did that, though.
That would be weird. But now, Chris, what are your intakes on that?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, I hope they don't do anything where Corbin cashes it in. That would just mess up the whole Money in the Bank process of it. I want Big E to cash it in. Say it again.
I'm going to give a bold take just in a little bit about that, actually.
I want Big E to cash in. I don't want the Almighty Reign to end, but I do want Goldberg to win so Big E can cash in on Goldberg for his dream match.
So my hot take is I think the whole reason why Goldberg's there is so that he can train his son into join. They put his son in this whole conversation. Now, he hasn't actually said anything, but I feel like this feud between Bobby Lashley and Goldberg is just a learning experience for his son when he goes in, if he wants to do wrestling.
I can see that.
I mean, he came out because he said in the show that he came out of retirement because of his son. I don't know if it's actual reason or not, but that's what was said in the show.
Yeah, he said that before, that he wanted his son to see him wrestle.
True.
Like when he came back for Lesnar the first time, that's why he did it. So I could see what you're saying.
Yeah. So moving on, probably the best part of the night, the signing. It's official now. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair will have their WrestleMania rematch over at SummerSlam, and Sasha will try to get the title. I love how they're portraying Sasha's character right now. I love how they're betraying both of them. I feel like now we talked a little bit about the whole Alexa Bliss, Nikki Ash thing. I think there will be a trio going on, but I don't think Sasha will be part of Alexa's trio. I think that three right there will be a trio of their own. I think that's what they're really doing, forming a three women tag team right there. Ray?
No, to me, I like the way they brought Sasha back, helping her out. The next thing you know, she turns on her, and then they all beat down her, again. So I mean, I don't see Vega, Banks, and Carmella as a fashion. That don't make no sense whatsoever. I mean, they have nothing in common. I mean, it's just one. Carmella's probably playing this fashion kind of type, expensive kind of woman. That's what hers portrayed. Sasha's portrayed as a person coming in with a mean streak. And then Tony Vega, she really doesn't have a gimmick. I mean, I can't really tell what she's trying to, unless she's coming in with the Hispanic attitude, the Hispanic mafia or something like that. I really can't tell I can't really tell where she's fitting in all this. I really don't know why they brought her back, because she has no value. To me, I think she's just going to be a person that is put in here as a squash person and take all the front of the beating. So I really don't know what they brought her back for and stuff like that.
I know how I feel about That's kind of how I feel about on the men's side. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. If I remember, I'll tell him later. But so we do have a comment. Justin David Kish. He says Dominic Mysterio and Goldberg's son's main event, Mania main event in 2025. LOL.
That'd be interesting.
So I think that's actually. Oh no, there's one other thing. I don't really want to talk about this, but there's one other thing to talk about. What was I didn't really care too much about the Mysterios and Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, Dirty Dogs. I didn't really. It was a match, yes, but it was.
It's a match to get Dominique experience.
True. Yeah, it was a match to get Dominic experience, but the part that I didn't really like about it is the Usos, what they did, making fun of Rhea and Dominic doing the 619. I didn't really like that.
Well, you got to think the Usos going to be like a bully type characters. I mean, you got a smaller tag team and Dominique and them. They can bully around with the posture of the Samoan behind them. There's Samoan breed, so I mean, I think it's just them playing as a big bully. That's my perspective of that. That's probably why they came out. But also, this match was taking place because you got Rude and Dolph Ziggler, who's both veterans and both proven cool talent, and that they can give Dominique and Ray want to get Dominique some more experience, and so does Vince McMahon, because they probably said Dominique to come up with some kind of thing in probably the next 3 or 4 years. Probably going to end up having the Intercontinental title. Probably setting up something with Goldberg's son. If Goldberg's son decides he wants to actually do it. I mean, he's been in the Performance Center a couple of times, but I don't know if exactly if he's fully trained, or if his father's training him out in somewhere that nobody knows. But the kid, I mean, if you look at it, it's totally different. I mean, Dominic's a taller version of Ray with his body style. Goldberg's son looks like he's going to be a Goldberg type bodybuilder looking thing. So, I mean, that you never know in 2025 that might come to fruition. They might have something up with them. We don't know that, but Dominique is proving it's getting better each time he comes out. I like his move styles. I like his way, his ring presence. His father's been in the wrestling business since he was 16 years old. So he's got some experience there in his side. And then you got Eddie Guerrero's family on there that they're very close with. So you got all their legends that help Dominique out. So I mean, to me, I think this match was pretty much of just getting Dominique and Ray some more quality time, prepare for the Usos. You never know; they might have them taking the titles off the Usos again. We don't know how this is going to play out. We don't know how much longer Ray's going to be around. We don't know what his contract status is going to be here in the next 2 to 3 years. So I mean, Ray could end up being just coming back as a manager for Dominic.
Do you think we'll get a Ray Dominic feud?
No.
That's only if Ray agrees to it.
I don't see it happening.
I don't know, because then you bring in.
I mean, Ray could let him retire him. I mean,
he could, but I don't see him turning on his father, because the Mysterios are really close. Because if you read some of the stuff that came on when his daughter was doing with Murphy and stuff like that, she really hated it because it's really because they're a close knit family. They're very close knit, and it was kind of hard for her to portray her father and stuff like that. You could tell where the storyline was building. She wasn't really comfortable. She wasn't really comfortable, and that she came out and said that she wasn't comfortable kissing Murphy the way she, on the screens, but she did it because that's what she was paid to do. But then again, she really did. It tore her family apart. it tore her insides apart, and Ray's part seeing that. I don't think I see him. They really have to agree about it. They're gonna have to go to the family, and they're gonna all have to agree if they want the storyline to happen. I don't see it happen because I don't see no intentions between them. It's just been a heartfelt love. I guess we lost Nate. Well, he'll come back on. But anyway, so I mean, if we're looking at that, so I think we covered pretty much everything in that and SmackDown. I want to get to AEW for here for a few minutes because there's some interesting tidbits come out of AEW and stuff like that. I want to talk about Christian Cage, who dethroned Kenny Omega with the TNA World Championship. The outbreaks on the social media was astounding. We know everybody was surprised it happened. I wasn't surprised because Christian Cage, we know him. He's a good wrestler. He's a good hardcore wrestler. And some of this matches turned out to be a hardcore type with chairs and stuff like that. I think they got it right with here. But then I'm glad to see titles are starting to fall off Kenny Omega. I think that storyline has been played out a little bit too long. I think he needs to lose most of these belts and just stay with that one belt of AEW. I know the cross promotion stuff, but putting Christian Cage back on Impact Wrestling, I think that's a good fit for Impact to get them back in the notoriety the way they had it before the pandemic. So, what is your thought about Christian Cage dethroning Kenny Omega? Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised. I 100% agreed with it. The finish kind of was bad because Don Callis was on the apron for like 10 minutes. That part is kind of but I was happy Christian won. To me, what got Impact or TNA really on the map was Christian being signed. So it was good to see him back. I do like him. He kind of fits what Impact has more than Omega to me. I ain't seen him go have some great matches with Callahan, with Moose, who I think is going to take the title off of him. But one thing, just that only thing I don't like is that are we going to see the same match again in 2 weeks? Because it's kind of hard to have because that was a good match. It's going to be kind of hard for them to follow that up all out. Yeah.
I don't know, but all champions have a clause in their contract to go and have a rematch with the person they lose to. So they could probably play it out, but I think Christian could probably win.
AEW, with them doing that match at AEW.
Yeah. But this time it'll have to be on probably Impact.
Yeah.
At the Impact Zone or on an Impact pay-per-view since they did AEW. On an AEW pay-per-view, but they got the cross promotion anyway, Impact Wrestling and stuff like that. So I mean, to me, I think Christian was the right choice to beat Omega. I think I don't know how to put it, but I think John Moxley's gonna have to be back in this picture sooner or later with the AEW title. I think he's been off he had the AEW for quite a while, and then Kenny Omega took it, and then we had no more hear from stuff for him and what's the dude he's running around? Yeah. So we haven't really seen any more attacks on the elite, but I like to see Omega. I like to see John Moxley and part of the Young Bucks going for the Young Bucks, the AEW tag team. That'd be kind of interesting. Put the elite him back in the elite against the elite, and then having Kenny Omega try to interfere in that match and probably start Moxley back up for the AEW title. I think it's time for somebody to come and take the AEW title. I like to see Jungle Boy do it. I mean, I don't know if they would do it, but to me, I think Jungle Boy he's done everything they told him to do. I mean, he's taking beatings. He beat people. He's been in matches. I mean, him and Omega match was pretty good. I mean, for the size disparity for him being a smaller guy, being an athletic kind of guy, I think that match was pretty good. I think I could believe that he could beat Kenny Omega.
I do. I don't think, like I said, I don't see it happening, but I really do think Jungle Boy is the future world champion. Um, it's just kind of hard to predict who will take it off on Omega. Because has Renee had the baby yet? 'Cause I'm pretty sure Mox is gonna take some time off from that for that. Like that's what's going on with Heyman Page. You know, his wife just had a baby, so
Yeah,
that's
I
what took
don't
him
know.
out of All Out.
I thought she had the baby already.
Did she?
Yeah, I think she already had her baby.
Okay.
I think they already had the baby and stuff. Because I know that I've seen reports that she wants to be on AEW.
Mm.
They're trying. She's thinking about signing with AEW, probably be on the commentating team or being a manager for them.
Yeah, because she had like a crazy clause. Hers is like what 6 months or something. She couldn't sign with someone else.
Yeah, she had a 6 month clause, 120 days. I think 120 days clause.
Yeah.
I just hopped on. So who are you referring to?
We're referring to John Moxley, and we're talking about AEW right now.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, we're talking about Christian Cage taking the world title, the Impact Championship off of Kenny Omega on this
Okay.
past AEW pay per view to give Impact Wrestling our champion back, and Christian Cage. And then we're talking about Christian. We're talking about Moxley and his partner going up against Young Bucks trying to take the title there. I think I see that coming pretty soon. With John Moxley trying to get back in with Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega trying to interfere in that match. And then we were just talking about if John Moxley's wife had her baby yet, and then we're talking about she wants to come into AEW either as a commentary or being a manager to John Moxley. So that's the recap we're on right now. We're going to move into the AEW from this past week, and the first matchup was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks with Don Callis versus Dante Martin and the Seidel brothers.
Okay, so I think I'm actually, I went on the wrong. I'm sorry, I pulled something up.
Yeah. So I mean, this is before the Christian Cage, and Chris Cage interrupts with Jurassic Sparks joining in the match. After the match, John Callis joins the Elite for an in-ring promo, but Christian interrupted. Jurassic Sparks joined him, and the trio headed to the ring as the show went to a break. That was the first match. The Elite beat the Martins and the Seidel brothers. I really didn't care for this match. I know they're trying to put the Seidel brothers over, but still, I just still don't believe in their quality going up against a talented Elite team. So, what's y'all thought on that match?
I was impressed with Dante Martin. Extremely athletic. His like his high flying moves don't look as choreographed as a lot of others. Um, he's gonna have a good future because he's pretty young.
Yeah, he's 20 years old.
I felt
Yeah.
like this match had the opposite problem of that when we talked about Drew McIntyre and the 2-on-1 handicap match that he had. I feel like they had an opposite problem. I feel like I didn't really care too much about the story, but I liked the match better.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Because there was really no story to this match.
No, I think it was a match just put together to bring out Christian and the Jurassic.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. The next match was Darby Allin versus Daniel Garcia. I like the pairing with Darby Allin and Sting. I think that was the right call for that pairing. But I don't like the way they're using Darby Allin right now. And they took him away from the TNA title. And now put him in some other odd end matches here and there. I'd like to get him back into a title picture, either with Sting as a tag team title or going back after that TNA title.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess they're setting him up to be CM Punk's opponent. That's why he keeps with his best of the world stuff.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. I mean, but then again, what are you gonna do with Dan Bryan when he comes in?
I don't know. Somebody has to go after Omega. It's gonna be one of those two, probably.
Then again, Could we see CM Punk feud with Daniel Bryan?
Not yet.
Fans, I feel like the fans want that more than the people there.
I'm gonna tell you this was just gonna surprise everybody. I would like to see Orange Cassidy and CM Punk go at it.
Ooh.
Just with the
Whoa.
Orange Cassidy move. With the Orange Cassidy move, putting his hands in his pocket. You got the best of the world. Him telling me I'm the best in the world. And Cassidy putting his hands in the pocket and just does a little kick and stuff. I think that'd be kind of funny to watch myself.
Dude, that would be amazing. The internet would go crazy for that moment.
Yeah. But right now Cassidy is with his tag team and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't think we can see it right away, but eventually we probably would see CM Punk and Cassidy going at it. I mean, I like Cassidy. I mean, he's a very arrogant little dude, would put his hands in his pocket, and I can't see how he wrestles like that. I mean, Chris Jericho and him in that Champagne match.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I mean, he puts on. I mean, he's a very talented person. I think he coexists with everybody. And talking about Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Uta, and Chuck Taylor versus Matt Hardy in the Private Party. What do you thought about this match here?
I kind of felt like I didn't really care too much about it. It was not I didn't feel like it was a reflective match of talent or effort for me. There was too much time to really establish itself. I didn't really care too much. It's a long match, and it wasn't really a talent match. Personally.
It was just there. It took up time.
Yeah. To me, I think it just dropped the other two people and let Cassidy and Matt Hardy go at it. I thought it would have been a better match. And
100%.
Add the other two kids to it. I mean, Orange Cassidy by himself is just a match and a half.
No.
And I think Matt Hardy's experience, I think that match would have been a solid match more than with this Private Party and the other two people added on.
Now, do you think Matt Hardy's brother is going to join AEW and join that tag team?
Right now, my understanding, according to their cousin that I have talked to in recent past, there are big plans for Matt Hardy in Raw and WWE right now. We will have to wait and see what Vince McMahon's going to do with them. They're talking about Matt Hardy Jeff Hardy wants one more run with the WWE title, and Vince McMahon is pretty much going to give it to him. But when, we don't know. Because Matt Hardy and Vince McMahon are, on a very same wavelength here, because Matt Hardy wants to run one more time with the world title, and then Matt Hardy wants Jeff Hardy to come in AEW, and when they get ready to retire, they want to retire together as the Hardy Boys. So we can see Jeff Hardy making that one more run with the title. After that run, he leaves WWE, goes back to AEW, and they run as the Hardy Boys one more time. And they're both going to retire. So
that makes sense.
That's the plan right now. So, all right, let's see here. One of my favorite female wrestlers in AEW is Chris Statlander. I like her. She's kind of weird, space gimmick. She's not from Earth, and she plays that role pretty good too. And Nyla Rose with excuse me. I can't say that to all my kids are asleep. But yeah, Vicky Guerrero. I think that was a good combo put together. So I think she's big and tough. She can she can wrestle with Nyla Rose. I think this is a good match. How do you take on this match, Chris?
It was good. Statlander kind of impressed me. She had more power moves than I expected against Nyla. And great athleticism. With the right deal, a couple of months from now, I can see Statlander taking it from DMD.
Yeah. Brittany. That's Adam Cole's wife, by the way.
Yeah.
So Brittany MD, and she's really a dentist.
Yes.
So her little dentist thing is actually real. She goes around and gives everybody their checkups and stuff on their dental. So you got a dental surgeon right on your staff. So
So is Adam Cole coming to AEW? You think?
no, Adam
Hmm.
Cole's gonna probably be moved up to either Raw or SmackDown here in the next maybe next 6 months.
I haven't really
Have you-
seen. I haven't really seen much of like Adam Cole because in a while, so I want to see a little bit more.
Yeah, but I don't think he's coming to AEW. I can see Brittany. I can see her going to WWE more
Hmm.
than I see Adam Cole coming down to AEW because I think AEW's got too many similar wrestlers to Adam Cole. If you put Adam Cole down here, he's just gonna get lost a little bit. Even though they were trying to make WWE, getting more WWE wrestlers into AEW, and people think that's a setup where Vince McMahon is going to come in. I don't think so. I think it's just, I think the Shaka Khan's son sees, dollar signs in these guys
Mm-hmm.
and getting them a chance to shine and show and slap WWE in the face of why you let these guys go. I mean, to me, I think they let Andrade go, but they didn't really know how to use him in WWE to let him go. And all of a sudden now he's got his own little niche in AEW. Look at Merrill. You know, he ran this character out of the WWE, and then Vince McMahon just ran him out of town. And now he's reinvented himself in AEW, and I think he's going good. And Lana's going to be joining him probably in the next. I think her I think her 90 days. I think her 60 days ends here soon, and
Hmm.
she's going to probably be end up in his corner as his manager back. I like that combination better too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So going on to this next, I think really the last one. Did you talk about the Good Brothers or in the versus the Dark Order? Is that
Nah, this is a view. Yeah, we're getting close to the end right here. This is the because Brittany because Britt Baker promo was that one. She was talking about red
yeah.
velvet before Tony Schiavone entered the hometown hero. Baker made her way to the ring and Thorne's ovations with the yellow Raleigh towel twist. So she's from Pittsburgh, so she had the yellow colors in her thing. It was just a big promo to get red velvet out there and stuff like that. So that was really, that. And then you had the Good Brothers versus the Dark Order. Now, my thing about this whole thing is, Bray Wyatt is sitting out there. His 30 day, his 60 days non compete, it just started. He's probably I say he's about 45 days into it now. I think I think he's been gone 5 days. No, he's been gone longer than that. I think he's still got quite a ways to go, but I think he might end up being the next person to enter into. I think, but they're gonna probably set it up. It's gonna be Brody Lee's son going to Bray Wyatt and having him come in and take over the group because he's still got to go to school and everything. He's still kind of young, so I think they're gonna bring him in, and I think him and then they're gonna probably bring Rowan back and join in the Dark Order to set up the Dark Order. I think that's gonna be a good compelling story. Um, I think that's going to be a good compelling story. I think the Dark Order will play a better suit going up against the Elite than
Yeah.
than some of the other people are because they have a more stable kind of thing. I think they got a good following. I think because of Brody Lee's being his death has really helped out the Dark Order. I think his presence there in spirit is really helping them out. So what do y'all think about that scenario with the Good Brothers and the Elite and the Dark Order?
That's a great idea. I never even thought of having -1 be the one to reach out to Bray.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea as well.
Yeah, I think having him reach out to Barry White, I think that could get out to him. And the only thing is, my understanding is WWE has letting Wyatt take all the Fiend's gear. I think he's. I think that was one of the terms that when he got released that he could keep the Fiend. But I don't think he's going to take the Fiend name. I think he might take the same makeup and stuff and take it over to AEW and have it like an alter ego type deal.
I did have one problem with the match, though. I feel like the match could have been a lot shorter, and then there could have been less commercials being involved in the match as well.
Well, I was saying about AEW. AEW sometimes run these commercials, and you still see the match, but you don't hear the commentating.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. Sometimes that's JR's favorite line now is, "Let's take the commercial break, but you're not going to miss anything. Match, we're going to do a double take or something." I don't know how he sets it up. He sets it up pretty good, but I think it's more like if you watch the WCW kind of style, because when sometimes they went to commercial, you still see the action, but not have the commentary. I think that's more to take. I think that's what AEW models after because they worked against WWE, and I think that's what they hoping that it works again. I think they get more viewership than WWE because the product WWE's putting out right now. I think John Cena came back and helped. I think The Rock when he comes back he's going to help out a little bit, but I think the storyline is much better in AEW than it is in WWE right now.
Mm-hmm. Especially with Raw.
Yeah. I mean, Raw's been lackluster here, and then SmackDown's been.
Speaking of, there is one storyline we forgot to mention about. What's going on with Elias?
He's going to gimmick change.
Yeah. So the music gimmick is gone, but
yeah.
The name is gone, I guess, too. I don't know.
Say what?
Is that the name Elias is going to be gone too?
Yeah, I think they're going to overhaul his whole entire gimmick. I mean, the Elias gimmick's probably played out because he's getting beat so many times as Elias. I mean, bringing back something else, maybe he might shine a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, I think Elias' gimmick was pretty good at the time. I mean, he played guitar in front of the whole crowd, started singing in, but people interrupted. I mean, how much you can do out of that? I mean, you got to do something. I mean, one thing to me to be a great professional wrestler, you got to be able to change your gimmick. And we only seen a few people can really maintain their gimmick all the way through, like John Cena. Roman Reigns has went from the big dog down to the head of the table now. I really don't like the head of the table, but Vince McMahon does, and it's been getting people over. I mean, stuff like that. And I mean, the Usos keeping their regular. They ain't been. But I mean, you got certain wrestlers. You got to change the whole entire gimmick because it gets stale. I mean, some wrestlers don't know how to keep their gimmick going. Rey Mysterio's kept his gimmick going for a long, long time, and they still don't get old. So I mean,
so the last, I think the next part of the AEW was Paul Wright, rescues Tony Schiavone and Schiavone, excuse me. What are your thoughts on that? I'll go with Ray first.
It just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we didn't know that his son was training or anything like that. QT, I mean, I get he's a bully, but so is QT going to face Paul White? And did y'all notice Paul White's music? That's the same guy who's on the Big Show's thing.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, see, to me, Paul Wright has signed a contract to be a commentator / wrestler. So I mean, I think it's time for it. I mean, he came in. He's been in there for about a month and a half now, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got his gimmick as a commentator, but now he's coming in to save, to be a savior, and then probably end up going. I mean, Paul Wright's there to put people over. That's basically what he said. He said, "I'm there to commentate. I'm there to put people over." So the way to put Keith Marshall over, have him go against Paul Wright. And have him push over. I mean, what's Mark Henry going to be doing? And Mark Henry's doing the same thing. He's coming in as a commentator, and he wants to get back in the ring. He's already said he wants to get back in the ring. So, I like to see Paul Wright and Mark Henry get in the ring, big tag team title. the tag team and the tag team titles, man. That'd be kind of awesome.
There was a match. It was a while back. There was a match a while back where it was Cody Rhodes versus Shaq. I kind of want to see Shaq and Paul White have a some sort of storyline together.
Yeah,
They never got to in WWE. Yeah.
They've been trying to. I mean, some of the stuff that Paul White has done is like him and Floyd Mayweather, because Big Show had a boxing background, and so I thought that was kind of cool when he was in WWE. But I always wanted to see Shaq and Paul White go at it. Two big giants, like some sort of like the John Studd and Andre the Giant type match back in the day.
So the last part of AEW was the Four Labors of Jericho, Chris Jericho versus Wardlow. The winner of this one was Jericho defeated Wardlow. Go with Chris first on this. What are your thoughts on the match?
I mean, the match was okay. It was probably the worst of the Labors of Jericho series. It just seems like they're getting easier as they go down. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Wardlow match should have been first, then the Hoovy, then Shawn Spears, then Nikki H.
Well, I mean, you got to keep Jericho somewhere near the main event. I mean, that's just his forte. I mean,
Yeah.
Jericho could start off some of the stuff, but I can agree with you on that. I think because he went against Warlow, I think he could have been like the first or somewhere between 1 and 3. Not the last match. I mean, it just really just didn't set right. I mean, Warlow is not a main eventer yet. I mean, we don't know. I mean, he really didn't put on a. I mean, I thought Chris Jericho carried that match all the way through. I mean, if you watch Jericho's matches, when you talk to Jericho about his matches, he always states that when he wants to get in the ring, he wants to call first one half of the match, and he wants his opponent to call the second half of the match. The first half of that match, Warlow was calling, and I don't think he did a great job on it. I think that's why you saw Chris Jericho get frustrated somewhere during the match. You can see his frustration level. That's why he probably took over the call in the match and then got a bit better as it went on. But Jericho's always said that when he gets in a match, he wants to get in a ring. He wants his opponent to call either the first half or the second half, depends on how he goes in the match, and that he don't have to call all the time. But I mean, to me, Wardlow is not ready for Jericho. I mean, that was just a match put together. I mean, you gotta have a main event guy to go against Jericho because that's how good Jericho is.
So that's all I had from Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. Any final thoughts before we give this a close? We'll go with Chris first.
Just a question. On Friday, I mean, everybody's expecting to see CM Punk's debut. Do you do that opening segment and get it out the way, or let it build throughout the show for the main event, but you risk the crowd taking over that show, chanting CM Punk?
Wow. Sorry you come up with that. This is my thing on how they're gonna do CM Punk. I have CM Punk come out first. I have him talk for a few minutes. Have somebody come out and challenge him, and you can put him. Boom! You got a main event right at the end. So what you do is you settle the crowd down from the CM Punk chants, and you got the crowd waiting for CM Punk to come back out because somebody issued him a challenge. That's how you take care of both songs at one time. You bring him out, have him talk, have somebody challenge him. Boom! He's at the end of the show.
I'm kind of thinking, maybe you put him. So he comes in in the middle of the match, maybe because he's not liking something or whatever, and he comes in the middle of the match, maybe as throwing maybe disqualification, or maybe towards the end of the match, he goes in and he attacks the winner or something like that. Maybe he pull up some sort of surprise.
Or, who was also supposed to debut at the same time, and they will hold him off. But how about if he shows up, Daniel Bryan?
Who?
Because they talking about because it was this is supposed to be the debut of Daniel Bryan too before they got CM Punk. So how about Daniel Bryan shows up somewhere between CM Punk coming out and then next thing you know he attacks him.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. This is already gonna be a great weekend for wrestling between Rampage, SummerSlam, Takeover.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
it is.
SummerSlam being on a Saturday instead of on a Sunday.
Because there was supposed to be the Pacquiao Earl Spence fight this Sunday in Vegas, so they didn't want to risk, people going to that instead.
Oh, okay.
So they put SummerSlam that Saturday.
That's just kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it is. So that's all I had. Rating, any other final thoughts?
Nah, my final thought is my question. My final thoughts is, will we see Charlotte Flair lead WWE for AEW? That's my opinion, because there have been reports that her husband wants her to come, or fiance wants her to come. Ric Flair's already going to be there, and how about that? How about joining the stable with Chavo? Chavo was part of that stable, so how about putting a female in there? So will Charlotte Flair ever leave WWE? As time will tell.
I think Vince is going to do everything he can to keep her.
I mean, what Charlotte's got to prove. I mean, she's already won the championship so many times. She really ain't got nothing to prove in WWE.
He can increase that bank account. I know Tony Khan could too, but
Tony Khan's got dad behind him pushing the money.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been Nate, Ray, and Chris signing out. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Thank y'all.
Dang.